Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about why we can't use fatigue as an excuse for missing a lift or not lifting as much weight as we think we should. Okay, and I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm not saying fatigue won't cause that to happen. Every lift that I'm doing here on camera are lifts that I should have got more in general, or where I missed a lift that I should have got. And it was while in a fatigue state, while dealing with a large amount of training fatigue. And I'll have people come in and, who are fans and they mean well. And they'll say, well, I think it's because of the way you're training. I mean, we see your training vlogs, so much volume. There's so many potential recovery problems here and there. You accumulate large amounts of fatigue. You just missed that lift due to fatigue. No, I missed that lift because I wasn't strong enough that day. And this is where we need to learn to set our ego to the side and be objective and use these things as learning tools. Okay? We can't make excuses. There's a difference between excuses and reasons. Now, could fatigue be a reason you didn't lift as much as you wanted? Absolutely. But you know what? Being weak is also a reason why we didn't lift as much as we wanted. Okay, so we have to look at it from that perspective. We have to look at it from the perspective of what can we learn from it. All right, when we're fatigued, if your max, and this doesn't even have to be 1 rep max, this could be your 10 rep sets. Let's say you're working on doing close grip bench press with 225 for sets of 10, and all of a sudden you can't get 10 reps. Same concept as your 1 rep max. Something went wrong. Something went wrong. You weren't strong enough to lift that. You weren't strong enough to lift that, and you have to be honest with yourself about it. And here's my point. If you go to lift 500 pounds, and I'm making that up as an arbitrary number, on any exercise, I don't care what it is, sumo deadlift, conventional deadlift, squat, box squat, deadlift with 60 pounds of chains, I don't care. Your overhead press if you're God tier, right? 500 pounds. And it's your all out grinding max. But you know that you're capable of more. And you look at that and say, well, I was fatigued. I mean, I had been, 6 days in a row without a day off. I've trained 20 days without a day off. I'm fatigued. I have a large amount of training fatigue. So you decide then that, your 500 pounds is your fatigued max. And if you tried 510, you missed it. 500, your fatigued max. Does that mean that the weak links aren't still there? If your hamstrings or your thoracic erectors or your pecs or whatever muscles seem to be the weak link based upon where it's stuck, where it's slowed down, the muscles that may be hurt, if that muscle had that weak muscle, that weak link, been stronger, you would have got that lift. You would have got that lift that you missed. You would have got the 510. Your fatigue max wouldn't be 500. Okay? Your fatigue max might be 525. So when we look at our maxes and we say, well, okay, instead of looking at it as that's my misgrooved max or my fatigue max, that was my max for the day. That's what I could do today. In fact, that might even be your everyday strength. What's everyday strength? What we can do on a bad day. Right? 500 pounds could be your everyday strength. That's a bad day. Well, if you fix that weak link, you fix your hamstrings, and your everyday bad day 500 max will go up to 525. So the explanation is still just like when you miss a great max, when you were having a great day and you weren't fatigued and you had no reason to, you still assess the weak links because it's still weakness. And you have to get stronger. You have to use that as a tool to say, okay, why did I miss that lift? And that you didn't miss that lift. that 510, you didn't miss that lift because you were fatigued. You missed that lift because your hamstrings weren't strong enough. And if you make your hamstrings stronger, next time you have that fatigued lift, you'll get it. But we can't make those excuses. And it's the same thing when people say misgrooved. Well, I slid out of my groove. Well, why'd you slide out of your groove? Why do we slide out of our groove? Is it because we don't know how to perform the exercise? All right, most of you out there who are listening to something like this, or you're training, you've been squatting for years. You've been deadlifting for years. Did you mean to tell me you don't know how to squat or deadlift? Okay, if you missed your groove because you don't know how to squat or deadlift, you need to learn how to perform the exercise. You need to have someone teach you. Okay, because you're not proficient. I don't care if you're at 500 pounds. If you don't know how to perform the exercise, that's what a missed groove tells me. It just slipped out magically out of its groove. Well, because you don't know how to perform the lift. Telling me you don't know how to squat? Well, then you need to learn how to squat, and then you won't slide out of your groove again. Okay, these are not complex exercises. I get it. If it's a clean and jerk or a snatch, I get it. Those are more complicated. All right. They require a larger degree of technical proficiency. But are you telling me a squat, a bench, or a deadlift are highly technical lifts that you just forgot how to perform it? I don't think so. Why'd you slide out of your groove? Because you had a weak muscle? Because your quads were too weak? Right? We misgroove because our quads are too weak. We misgroove because our hips are too weak. We misgroove because our triceps are too weak. Okay, what happens? Triceps are too weak. Oh, the bar drifts up towards your face too much. You're trying to compensate because your triceps aren't strong enough to lock it. So you're trying to bring your delts and pecs back in and you push it up over your face on a bench press. Okay. Hamstrings are too weak on a deadlift, so we try to use more back to lift it when it gets too hard. Okay, that's what a misgroove is. A misgroove means you're too damn weak to lift it. You have a weak muscle that you compensated for. Okay, okay, because you're fatigued. You're more fatigued than usual, so therefore that weak link is more fatigued than usual. So you misgrooved it. Well, how are you going to fix that? You think practicing the conventional deadlift is going to fix that misgroove? You think that's going to magically fix your hamstring weakness because it was technique? No, you're going to have to make your hamstring stronger. It's one reason with conjugate type training we do so many different max effort lifts. We're used to just pushing through. You don't misgroove. We don't misgroove. We always learn to find our groove. You learn to find your groove on everything. And when you learn to find your weak links on everything, that's the key to it. That's the beauty of it. People say, well, why do you need to find the weak links for your pause squat? Why do you need to find the weak links for your chain squat? Why does it matter? Because those pull us into different ranges of motion. And if we fix the weak link for those, and that weak link starts to give out and pull us into that range of motion on the main lift, we know how to push through it. Because we fix the weak links for the misgroove. Okay, because we have different strength curves because we perform 5 different types of squats. If the bar, for any reason, happens to slide out of its groove, we've strengthened the weak links for the other grooves. Because they all have slightly different bar paths and strength curves. We fixed all of our weak links. Okay, when you don't have weak links like that because you fixed them on that, you don't misgroove. You don't misgroove. You just push through because you're strong. And if you can't lift the weight, you weren't strong enough to do it. It wasn't because you misgrooved. We misgrooved due to muscle weaknesses. And if we misgrooved to a muscle weakness, if we fix the weakness for the new groove that we push into already because we trained 5 different types of squats, different strength curves and slightly different bar paths, then we'll be fine, won't we? So the only excuse for missing a lift is I just wasn't strong enough. So you better take those lifts. I don't care whether it's the 1 rep max that we described or your 10 rep sets on your closed grip bench press, because hey, that'll make you stronger. You need to address the weaknesses, and you need to be objective, and we have to set our egos to the side and be humble about it and be honest with ourselves about it. That bench press right there that I was struggling with the lockout. Was that just a bad day? Or was I just really weak that day? Did I have some major muscle weaknesses because I took certain supplemental lifts out? Or is it because I'm fatigued? Well, my triceps day, I'm sure need to get stronger at the top of that. Either way. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.